Grand National Day, and I don't want to be a barmaid starting at 3 on Saturday. Done that, worn the t-shirt, ain't doing it no more. Even worse, as I remember, the one that's given you the eye before the off gets a 25-1 winner and thinks the world's his oyster and you're his pearl. Anyway, things didn't go too well on Thursday. A second, a third, 2 fourths and 2 fallers, God help me. So apologies for that, folks, but Friday turned out a bit better, and I hope you got me big gold clue in the intro. Anyway, judged on me first 2 days, especially when Hartwood didn't get to Grey Dawning and Solness in the Melling Chase, Caroline's been brought in to shore me up. So we've got our top Irish tipster in, top of the pops at Cheltenham and throwing me a life belt on the big day. So as usual, let's get a couple of the lesser races out of the way, and I'll start with the closer, the bumper. Not much to choose between Look Me and Base Hunter for the bumper, but I've got this down as Ireland's Day, right down to the last. Of course, Chris Gordon's Base Hunter has a bit better form on good ground, and his win in a listed contest at Ascot was impressive enough, but Willie Mullins won this last year, and I wouldn't put it past him to win it again. Emma Lavell's One Night completes my 3, but Look Me can get upsides of Base Hunter, given the going, with the more rain, the better. For the first of the handicaps, I do like the appeal of Chris Gordon's Fortune Timmy. It's as fiercely competitive as ever, just the sort of contest that Dan Skelton excels in, so no surprise to see Supremely West head the markets this week after scoring at Cheltenham last month. But he's been nudged up £9 for that win from a merciless handicapper, so would be quite a feat to do it again. Fortune Timmy steps out of the Grade 1 Turners Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham to this handicap, on what looks to me a very easy mark, and this season his form has real depth, so unexposed at 3 miles, this could be the making of him. Paul Nicholls. Absolutely Doyen has been winning for fun this term, and his 8th in the Pertomps final at Cheltenham was closer than it looked on paper, so would be my second choice, while for all you each-way junkies, Ollie Murphy's Good to Be Alive is going to be thereabouts under Jack Kennedy. Fortune Timmy to relish this trip on a flat track and go in at the expense of Absolutely Doyen and Supremely West. Right then, my Saturday nap goes to post in the Mersey Novices Hurdle. Now, Ballyfad didn't take to kickboxing before the Turners Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham, so I'm putting a line through that and saying he's winning this. Very much his chance to make amends for getting unsettled before that Grade 1, and very progressive prior to that, so I'll have him ahead of Dan Skelton's bossman, Jack, this time, though in Soldier Reeves the Skelton yard has a strong hand. Ollie Murphy's Scorpio Rising has made winning a bit of a habit, though it's a big ask to be thrown into a Grade 1, and Charisma Cat looks an each-way steal to me, judged on her last run in a Mares Grade 2 under Tom Bellamy at Newbury. Ballyfad is the class act here, but Charisma Cat, Soldier Reeves and Bossman Jack should be right in the thick of it too. Caroline?
Thank you, Jaysella, and at least we're both on the same hymn sheet this time. You have to look past Ballyfad's Cheltenham experience the last day, where what could go wrong did go wrong, and with Gordon Elliott's recent record in this contest, I'm thinking this one's going back to Ireland. He did all but win the Tattersalls Ireland Novice Hurdle at the Dublin Racing Festival, until Talk the Talk got him on the line, and Jack Kennedy is going to think this is his best chance of the day. So yes, Ballyfad it is.
Right then. Getting things off to a winning start on Grand National Saturday shouldn't be too difficult with Salvator Mundi in the Maghull, and that's my next best. It's arguable what depth he swam in last time, out in a beginner's chase at Turles in February, but although he must have gotten a bit lonely up front doing it all by himself, more of the same please. Might expect a bit more company this time around though, with Warren Greatrex's Mighty Bandit, one that likes to get on with it, and he's done so with plenty of success in handicaps, and goes straight into a Grade 1. I would have thought Dan Skelton's Be Aware will be pretty prominent too, but I don't think he's good enough to trouble Salvator Mundi, so that leaves Gordon Elliott's Carla Conti as the main obstacle to another Grade 1 success for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend, though it's a sharp trip this for the mare. Plenty of pace from the off, with Salvator Mundi just too good for this field, I reckon. Caroline?
Thank you, Jaysella, and I do agree that the pace is the key to this. But I do think that could play into Carlo Conti's hands, as Salvator Mundi might just get a bit lit up, given the occasion, the huge crowd, and the likes of Mighty Bandit trying to force the pace. Much like in the Gold Cup at Cheltenham on Gaelic Warrior, Paul Townend is going to have to keep the lid on Salvator Mundi or trust him to front run the legs off them all, and my guess, it would be a tight rein. In my opinion, Jack Kennedy can keep watching behind on Carlo Conti as the pace setters set the fractions in front of the home crowds in that first half mile and bide his time on the mare until they pass their starting point. That's the way I read it, Jaysella, and with the overnight rain just taking a slight edge off the pace angle, canny Jack Kennedy, who's having a brilliant week, can beat Salvator Mundi.
In the second of the handicaps, despite carrying 12 stone, I'm crystal clear on confusion for the freebooter, as it used to be. Just hugely progressive this season, winning the rehearsal at Newcastle and the Roland Merrick at Wetherby. He fell in the Ultima at Cheltenham for the first time over fences, but I guess Gavin Sheehan will follow the same playbook and get him out there at the front of things and see where he ends up under this top weight. Of course, in these handicaps, always see what Dan Skelton brings to the table, so Mr. Hope Street is unsurprisingly well backed, while Neil King's Lookaway will get some support. Tricky one this, but confusion can get into a good rhythm on this flat Aintree track and won't be far away. In the Liverpool Hurdle, Honesty Policy, 5th in the Stayers Hurdle at Cheltenham, won by the reopposing Home by the Lee, did lose a bit up that stiff finish, so this track with winning course form in the book can make the difference. It was the Mersey Novices Hurdle over 2 mile 4 that he won here last year. And although both Impostoir and Strong Leader beat him in the long walk at Ascot, the return to Merseyside could be just the thing. Strong Leader, though, has an excellent Aintree record and has been kept under wraps for this, so do take note. I'm thinking that a reverse forecast on these two might pay dividends for those of you that like your fancy bets, so don't forget you heard it here first when you're at the bar. I'm over here. Hidden Valley Lake won it last year, and Home by the Lee is obviously at the top of his game, but honesty is the best policy for me here. Caroline, your thoughts?
Oh, JC, how could you think honesty is the best policy when you've got last year's winner, Hidden Valley Lake, specially prepared for this? Now, his run the last day in the Boyne Hurdle at Navan was no more than a warm-up for me. On heavy ground, that wasn't the best. And he does need a bit of a break between races to be seen at his best. So I'm telling yous that the Liverpool Hurdle is the aim for the season. I'm looking at Strong Leader to be the one that Dara O'Keefe will have to keep tabs on, given a tremendous record in this race, and that also would be a tempting forecast, but this pair must be the ones. Race of the day for me, Jaysella, and it's Hidden Valley Lake I think will win.
Well, here we go, the Grand National. Everyone's been asking me for weeks what's going to win, and I'm still not sure. So let's keep this short. Haiti Couleurs could go round this course twice if he wanted. He's got so much stamina. I was banging on about him on the podcast this week, but he'd need to be about 4 or 5 lengths clear coming up to the elbow to hang on, given that pace isn't his thing. When I gave him for the Welsh National was an easy win, with those of you on the forecast, on O'Connell, very happy subscribers. We were all at the party. So, as I Am Maximus has been aimed at this race and has finished first and second in the last 2 renewals, he's a nailed-on favourite to me. But Willie Mullins uses the Bobby Joe Chase as his prep run for his Grand National runners, so Grange Clare West comes into the equation. What's a girl to do? Well, at the odds on offer, an anyway forecast on any 2 of these 3 would give you a chance of a decent payout. Don't go mad though, with a win bet on each of these, a nice little side hustle. Good luck, Caroline.
Aimed at this is I Am Maximus. And let's be honest, Willie Mullins has got this race in his grip, with Nick Rockett winning last year and the selection first and second in the last 2. Phew, that's some record, and I'm pretty sure that this one's going back to Ireland once more. Sorry, JC, I Am Maximus, under instruction, I would guess, not to be given a hard ride the last day in the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown, has this as the season's target, and with overnight rain in the forecast, should have ideal conditions. Grange Clare West is the obvious danger, with Iroko, the top of the home team for me, 4th last year, but with excuses after a dirty scope. I do agree Haiti Couleurs could probably outstay most of these, should the overnight rain change the going significantly. But I Am Maximus or Grange Clare West are winning this.